Okay, so another part of your assignment, they're going to ask you to state the domain and the range. So your domain deals with the x's, right? So you're going to look back and forth on your graph and note any restrictions on your x values. So is there anything that x cannot be on this graph? That's y. X is back and forth.
Oh, it's
All real numbers.
All real numbers, that's right. There's no restriction on your domain. Okay, so your range, you want to look at your y values. Now that's where you're getting into the -6, which you all were talking about earlier. Okay, so it's not going to go below this -6. So whenever you have a restriction like that, you want to use set builder notation. And I'm going to use f of x. It's okay if you use y. It means the same thing. So all values of f of x so that f of x is greater than or equal to -6. Okay, so let's look on page 234 in your book real quick. I want to do number 27. Yeah, 334, sorry. I'm going to look at number 27. And it's asking you to sketch a graph with the restrictions that they give you. And they're saying zeros at -5, -3, 0, 2, and 4. And it's an odd degree function. Okay, so they just want you to meet the criteria that they give you. If they don't specify something, then I wouldn't worry about what to do. For example, on this one, they don't tell you if the leading coefficient is positive or negative. So you don't know if the right side is going to go up or down. So I wouldn't worry about that part. You know, it's going to be an odd degree, and so really all you need to worry about is making sure that the ends go opposite directions. Okay? So let's do a little sketch. Okay, we got zeros at -5, -3, 0, 2, and 4. So I'm putting those points on the graph. And it doesn't tell you how high up or down or anything it goes. So in between, whenever you're doing your turns, you don't really need to worry about that either. So I'm just going to start way up here. I'm going to make it go. You can make it do whatever you want it to do, as long as it goes through those x values, and it's an odd function. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how to graph it on your calculator and get your relative max and relative min. Okay, so let's look on your notes, and we are going to do number 5. So you want to go to your y equals screen. Yeah, the plots need to be turned off, or else you might get an error when you try to graph it. Well, if one of your plots is dark up there, you're going to use the arrow to go up, and then press enter on the one that's dark and come back down, and it'll be turned off. Okay, so let's type in number 5, x to the third. Use your little caret button to get your exponent. And my exponent, you know, it stays up there flashing until I press the arrow to go over. Not everybody's does that. Yeah, it depends on what year, I think, and which kind you have. 3x minus 3x squared plus 5. So everybody got it?
Yeah.
Okay, so now let's press graph. Now if you have something, your window is different, you can always put it back into standard by pressing zoom and then the number 6 on your keys. Okay, so here's your graph. Any questions? Yeah. Okay, so to find your relative max and relative min, you're going to use this trace button next to the graph button. So if you press trace, you have a cursor that lights up on your screen as flashing. And we're going to move that up and down to find the relative max and relative min. The thing is, you have to use the left or the right arrow. Don't use up or down, because up or down will take you off the curve. So you want to just stay with the left or right arrows. So right now it looks like it's flashing on the relative max. So to find out if this is actually the right point or not, you want to watch your y value, and you want to get to the highest y value for your relative max. So if I press the left arrow, see my y value has gone down some, 4.85. Press the right arrow a couple times and it's going down on the other side. So when y is 5, that is the highest y value, so that is a relative max. Now whenever you write down the answer, though, they're asking for the x coordinate. So you watch the y value to see what's the highest, what's the lowest, but your x coordinate is the actual answer. So you'd have a relative max where x is about 0. To get the relative min, then I'm going to use my right arrow key and I'm going to move the cursor over. And you're watching the y value, right? And you want to find the lowest y at that turning point. So it's 1.2, 1.02, 1.05, 1.3. So it's starting to go back up after 1.02, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, so that would be the relative min. Now your values might not match exactly my values. So when we're reading the answers off tomorrow in class, as long as it's close, you're fine. Don't worry about it being exactly what the book has, okay? So this relative min is where x is about 1.91. They want you to round to the nearest hundredth. Okay?